Level 1. The Schütze. You're lying in a hole in the ground somewhere in Belarus. It's -30. Your rifle bolt is frozen. Your boots are soaked and starting to crack. Artillery hits 200 meters to your left and the ground shakes through your chest. You're 18. 8 weeks ago, you were an apprentice carpenter in Stuttgart. Then the letter came. Report for duty. That's it. They gave you a uniform that doesn't fit, boots a half size too small, and a bolt-action rifle called a Carabiner 98K that you barely know how to shoot. Training was supposed to be 16 weeks. They gave you 8. They can't afford 16 anymore. You earn 30 Reichsmarks a month. A factory worker back home makes 3 times that. But you didn't volunteer. You swore an oath. Not to Germany, not to the Constitution, to Adolf Hitler, personally. That oath is the leash. It doesn't come off. Your squad has 10 men. You know 3 of their names. The Unteroffizier, your squad corporal, doesn't care if you learn the others. Your job is simple. Carry your rifle, follow orders. Don't freeze to death. You stuff newspaper into your jacket for insulation. You sleep with your rifle inside your coat so the bolt doesn't freeze. You don't know what you're doing out here. Neither does the man next to you. He arrived 2 days before you did. Level 2. The Obergefreiter. 6 months. That's how long you lasted. Most of your squad didn't. You're an Obergefreiter now. Senior Lance Corporal. Pay goes up to 36 Reichsmarks. 6 more marks to get shot at. The new replacements look at you like you're ancient. You're 19. The Eastern Front runs from the Arctic Circle to the Black Sea. 1,600 kilometers of hell. Winter hits and the temperature drops to -40. Your canteen freezes. The grease in your machine gun freezes. The Wehrmacht never issued winter gear because the generals promised it would be over by October. You wrap your feet in rags inside boots that crack in the cold. A man in your platoon falls asleep on watch. He doesn't wake up. You find him in the morning, frozen, sitting upright, eyes open. Nobody buries him. The ground is concrete. You learn which sounds to ignore and which ones mean you have 3 seconds to live. You trade cigarettes for bread because cigarettes are worth more than money out here. The captain writes letters to families back home. He tells them their sons died bravely. He's written so many he uses the same sentences. You stop learning names. That's how you know the front has changed you. Level 3. The Unteroffizier. You're 20. They make you a squad leader. 10 men. Half of them arrived last week with barely any training. The Wehrmacht calls its tactical doctrine Auftragstaktik. They tell you the objective. You figure out how to get there. That sounds like freedom. It's not. It means every decision that kills someone is yours. You teach the new men everything. Check your weapon for ice every hour. Never walk on the road. Never silhouette yourself on a ridge. They forget. They die. You're earning 45 Reichsmarks a month. The responsibility costs more than the raise is worth. You divide rations when the supply trucks stop coming, which is often. One night a man in your squad tries to run. The Feldgendarmerie, the military police, catches him before dawn. They hand you the pistol. The Wehrmacht executed 15,000 of its own soldiers during this war. You do what you're told. You don't sleep well after that. You don't sleep well again. Level 4. The Feldwebel. You're 22. Platoon sergeant. 50 men. In most armies, a lieutenant runs a platoon. In the Wehrmacht, 2 out of 3 platoons are led by NCOs like you. The officers keep dying. There aren't enough left. You handle everything now. Training, discipline, pay, punishment, leave requests that never get approved. When they die, you collect their Soldbuch, their military ID, and their half of the dog tag. You send the other half home. Sometimes there's nothing to send. Sometimes there's no home to send it to. The bombers took care of that. A 19-year-old lieutenant arrives from officer school. 6 weeks of training. He looks to you for guidance because you've been alive out here for 2 years, and he can't believe anyone survives that long. You keep him alive for 4 months. He takes shrapnel outside Kursk. You write the letter to his mother. You find yourself using the same sentences the captain used to. They recommend you for officer training. You decline. Officers die faster. You've seen the numbers. The Wehrmacht has replaced every officer position an average of 9.2 times by 1944. But the war doesn't ask what you want. Level 5. The Lieutenant. They made you an officer anyway. You're 23. The Wehrmacht needs lieutenants the way a furnace needs coal. You burn through them. Officer candidates used to need a university degree. Now they just need a pulse and what the Reich calls National Socialist attitude. You're transferred west, France, June 1944. The Allies land on the beaches and the world cracks open. Your division loses 28 generals in the first month. Killed, wounded, captured. Rommel himself takes shrapnel to the head. You lead a company when the Hauptmann dies outside Caen. 180 men, most of them younger than you. You learn to write reports that make disasters sound like tactical withdrawals. You learn the art of losing slowly. By August, your unit is combat ineffective. The replacements arriving are 17-year-old Hitler youth with 1 week of training and Volkssturm conscripts, civilians forced into uniform, older than your father. They carry bolt-action rifles against Sherman tanks. You hear about the July bomb plot, Stauffenberg. You say nothing. 7,000 arrested, 5,000 executed. The Wehrmacht replaces the military salute with the Hitler salute. You keep your hand raised. You keep following orders. That's all that's left. Level 6. The Hauptmann. You're 25. You command a company. What's left of one? The retreat from France is chaos. You march east through Belgian villages where civilians spit at you. They remember what you did on the way in. You don't blame them. You're making 240 Reichsmarks a month now. It barely matters. A loaf of bread back home costs what a car used to. The currency is worthless. The country is being bombed into dust. Your mother's letters stopped 3 months ago. You don't know if she's alive. You don't know if your street still exists. You don't have time to find out. You share rations with your men. The Wehrmacht does this deliberately. Officers and enlisted eat the same food, sleep in the same mud. It builds loyalty. Or it did, when there was something to be loyal to. Half the men in your company weren't in it a month ago. The other half won't be in it a month from now. You're commanding a unit that replaces itself like skin cells. Same name, different men, always dying. The Eastern Front is collapsing. The Western Front is collapsing. There is no front anymore. Just a country being crushed from both sides. Level 7. The Oberst. You're 27. You command a regiment. 3,000 men on paper, maybe 800 in reality. The rest are dead, wounded, captured, or deserted. Berlin is 60 kilometers away, and the Soviets are coming. Hitler is in a bunker issuing orders to divisions that no longer exist. Generals who tell him the truth get relieved. Or shot. April 1945. You hear the artillery day and night. The sky glows orange. Boys who should be in school are carrying Panzerfausts, disposable anti-tank rockets, through the streets. Old men in Volkssturm armbands dig trenches with garden shovels. You know the war is over. Everyone knows. Saying it is defeatism. Defeatism is death. So you say nothing. You sign orders. You send men forward into positions that will be overrun by morning. May 8th. Surrender. 5.3 million Wehrmacht dead. 4 million of them on the Eastern Front. In the final 16 months, 10,000 died per day. The oath you swore dies in a bunker with a pistol shot. The uniform comes off. The war ends. Except it doesn't. The Soviets take 3 million German prisoners. The last ones don't come home until 1956, 11 years after it ended. Some of them were 18-year-old Schützen who just wanted to survive. The end. The Wehrmacht is dissolved. The ranks are erased. The flags are burned. Germany is split in two. But 12 years later, a new army forms. They call it the Bundeswehr. The uniforms are different. The oath is different. But somewhere in Bavaria, a drill instructor is standing in front of 40 young men who don't want to be there. And one of them just got a letter he didn't ask for. The ranks have new names. The machine never stopped.